Hey everybody, today we're going to take a look at the 2024 Senate and Governor's map based on the current markets. So for this, we're going to use polymarket because they actually have every race on there. And it's the kind of thing that could easily change day to day. But the way I'm going to do the shading is if it's 50% or more in one direction, that's going to go down as safe. 25 to 49 is going to be likely. 10 to 24 is leans. And anything under 10 is going to get a tilt rating. And the early spoiler here is if these markets pan out, there's going to be very few surprises on election day. Almost all of these are completely in one direction or the other. So we've got the Senate map up here. Let's get into it. We'll start by plugging in the safe states for the Dems. And again, these are at least going to be a 75% chance or more on polymarket, but most of these are well above that threshold. So after we've got these states filled in, we're already going to get pretty much all the swing states filled in at the same time. The Dems are going to be getting Nevada, Arizona, plus the former blue wall states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. None of these are really looking to be competitive at all. That doesn't mean something can't change in the last month. But as of late September, wherever people are willing to put their money, they're saying it's not going to be close. Now, if we go to the other side for the GOP, remember, Republicans are going to need to flip at least one seat and hold all their own seats if they want to win the Senate. And that's if Trump wins the White House. If Trump loses, they're going to need to flip at least two. So it's the same thing for the GOP. Pretty much every state is going to go safe, even any that might be potentially competitive like Texas and Florida. The advantage on the markets were all more than 50% for the Republican candidates in those states. West Virginia is going to be an easy pickup for the Republicans as Jim Justice wins Joe Manchin's old seat. We're going to come back to Ohio in just a second, but in Montana, this should be a competitive race between John Tester and Tim Sheehy. But as of the time I made the video, Sheehy, the Republican, was ahead 77 to 23. That's more than a 50% margin, so it's going to go safe. So that would be a second pickup for the Republicans. The last state is going to be Ohio, and as of the time I'm making this video, this is what I was looking at on polymarket. It's essentially tied, but Bernie Moreno, the Republican, is at 51%. Sherrod Brown, the Democrat, is at 50. That adds up to over 100%. I'm not a big fan of that. It's essentially tied, and the data might change as soon as I finish the video. But given that narrow 1% advantage, we're going to have to color this as a tilt for Moreno, the Republican. If that happened, that would be a third pickup for the Republicans, and that gives us the final map of 52 seats for the GOP and 48 for the Dems. Is this a plausible outcome? I would say yeah, but I would also say this map would not reflect the actual margins. I think a number of these states would be under 10 points, even though they're colored safe here. But this just goes to show you how confident people are when their money is on the line as of late September. Plenty of opportunity in the final 5 to 6 weeks for some changes. If this happened, I guess the Republicans would be satisfied with the map, but it's still a narrow margin. And plus, you might have moderates like Lisa Murkowski or Susan Collins. They could always end up becoming independents or siding with the Democrats, depending if Donald Trump has won the White House or not. So that's the Senate. Let's go over to the governor's side where there's even less to take a look at. And we've got 11 races here. We'll start with the safe states for the Dems. There's going to be 3 of them. It's going to be Washington, Delaware, and then North Carolina. This was supposed to be the marquee battleground state for governor, but the polling has seriously turned against Mark Robinson. He's run into a bunch of scandals, and the bettors are now saying this state is easily going to stay blue. The safe states for the Republicans are going to be the remaining states except for one. They're going to get Montana, Utah, North Dakota, Missouri, Indiana, West Virginia, and with Phil Scott in Vermont, they should easily hold that otherwise blue state. The only competitive state we've got here, according to the markets, is going to be New Hampshire. This was easily a single-digit margin on the market. This is between Kelly Ayotte and Joyce Craig. And for this video, it is going to go toward the Republican Kelly Ayotte. It's only going to be by a tilt margin. Given they had such a late primary in this state, I think whenever a new poll drops, it's going to have a moderate impact on these markets. We've seen one in favor of Craig. We've seen one in favor of Ayotte. So as of now, this is going to be the big race to take a look at for governor. You still might want to take a look at North Carolina or maybe even Washington to see if anything develops late. The other states are pretty much off the radar for either side. It doesn't mean it's impossible for a place like Indiana or Delaware for those states to get on the map as we get late into October. So with money on the line, that's how it looks for Senate and for governor. And it looks like there might not be any changes in partisan control for governor. We're about to hit October, which is going to be the home stretch. Be on the lookout for a ton of polls to drop and the potential for something to shake up any one of these races for Senate or for governor. There's still going to be a lot of debates coming up, and that's when a lot of voters might start actually taking a close look at these candidates. And if this year is like any other year, we're bound to at least see one upset out of all these races. However it looks in September might not necessarily be how it's going to play out in November. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about these maps based on the current markets? Do you agree the only close calls are going to be Ohio Senate and New Hampshire governor? Do you have any bold calls about any of the other races? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.